Ye- Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get a raise of hands who here was alive in '99? There you go, everybody, it seems. Well, today we're actually going to be comparing the similarities and the differences between 2021, this year, and December 1999, which was the year I was born. So, kind of the differences and similarities right off the bat. We have similarities, and Trump, actually his tower, his Trump World Tower, was being granted the height that he was requesting in December 1999. So it was the largest apartment building ever made, and he was given permission by New York City to create the tower, and he was also backed by the Independence Party for president. I think it's very interesting. In December 1999, President Trump was still in the public eye in a lot of very similar ways that he is in the public eye today. Another person that was in the spotlight in 1999 was Jay-Z, actually for multiple stabbings across Manhattan clubs. I'm not sure if you know this, but again, another person who was in the spotlight in 2021, also in the spotlight back in 1999. Some of the differences now of December 1999 and 2021, might I remind you, is that we were watching VHS tapes. We also were very upset about the Beanie Babies, talking about how they might cancel their Beanie Babies, as well as the NBA viewers were declining. And so they were questioning whether or not they should mic the referees and the coaches to add to the entertainment value, which I thought was interesting because the NBA nowadays is such a large player in the sports viewing industry that the idea that they would take away kind of some of the integrity by miking the refs and miking the coaches, it would have affected today very much so on how we watch sports. But they ultimately decided not to mic all of the people there on the court, which, take as you will. Now, while the similarities and differences between 2021 and 1999 are too many to count, they do serve as a very interesting topic. And if you lend me your ears, I will share even more similarities and differences with you. Now, I will tell you, some of these major events that I will be speaking about involve terrorism and the World Trade Center kind of being rumored. So if that's kind of a sensitive subject to you, I'm going to let you know this now to prepare. So first, we have NASA. The month of December 1999, their what is that? Space rover was supposed to land on Mars and start sending information to NASA, but never got the information. It was an 11-month journey, and throughout the entire month of December, as far as I know, no contact from the rover. It was yet another failure on NASA. And we know now NASA is no longer funded by the government, kind of foreshadowing NASA kind of having failures back in 1999, and nowadays they're no longer funded by the government. Also, there were multiple terrorist attack warnings. For example, the White House warned Americans to be vigilant about the attacks following potential terrorist plots from Osama bin Laden, and the Taliban held up an aircraft in India heavily armed with rockets and tanks. Now, this was all before the war between, the Afghanistan war and all of the ways America got involved. This is kind of leading up to that, right? So nowadays, of course, there are, the way that airplanes are boarded and everything has completely changed. So another is that there were protests at the World Trade Center because there was a globalist conference and a lot of people didn't want globalization among the nations. And so there was actually almost to a point where there was a riot and there was a police van flipped over and it was burning. Now, last but not least here, I have to talk about New Year's Eve of 1999 in December. Something about what's known as the Y2K bug, where there was a double-digit programming for the coders, where they thought once the year went past 99, since they only had the 2 digits, that everything was going to crash, in which it didn't. And otherwise we would have heard much more about that. But it was back in the actual times, it was a very real threat in the eyes of Americans. Also, the Times Square in New York was doubled in police. It had 3,500 usually, but now it had 7,000 people at the Times Square in New York celebrating New Year's Eve. In conclusion, we talked about some of the major events in the world of December 1999 and compared some of the similarities and differences between December 1999 and 2021 that we live in today. And I really appreciate you all for listening to my speech. Thank you very much.
There he is. Wait. Don't go anywhere. I want to let him finish for a minute.
That is good enough.